TV soap news and spoilers say that on the sultry evening of August 13th, the fictional town of Fairhaven, nestled in the heart of the Midwest, buzzed with secrets and scandals that would unravel in the latest episode of Beyond the Gates. The sleepy town, with its charming cobblestone streets and sprawling estates, was about to be shaken by revelations that would ripple through its tight-knit community. Families would be reunited, hearts would be broken, and legal battles loomed on the horizon, threatening to tear apart the fragile bonds that held Fairhaven together. What transpired on this fateful night was nothing short of a whirlwind, a dramatic tapestry woven with threads of love, betrayal, and long-buried truths. The magic of discovery, Jacob's investigation. Jacob Monroe, Fairhaven's most tenacious police detective, was no stranger to unraveling mysteries. Known for his sharp wit and unyielding determination, Jacob had a reputation for pulling off what locals called police magic tricks, solving cases that seemed impossible. On this particular evening, his investigation led him to the doors of the Fairhaven foster home, a place steeped in whispers of sorrow and hope. The home, with its creaky wooden floors and faded wallpaper, held secrets that had been locked away for years, and Jacob was determined to unearth them. For months, fans of Beyond the Gates had speculated about a mysterious photograph that June Carter, a beloved community figure, had kept hidden in her attic. The photo, yellowed with age, showed two children, a boy and a girl, whose identities had remained a mystery. Social media buzzed with theories, with some fans convinced the children were connected to the town's most prominent families. Jacob, armed with his intuition and a dog-eared notebook, arrived at the foster home to meet with its director, Mrs. Evelyn Harper. Mrs. Harper, a stern woman with a heart softened by years of caring for lost children, greeted Jacob with a weary smile. The air in her office was thick with the scent of old books and lavender, a stark contrast to the weight of the conversation that was about to unfold. After hours of poring over records and cross-referencing faded documents, Mrs. Harper revealed a truth that sent shockwaves through Jacob's mind. The children in June's photo were none other than Tyrell and Samantha, the long-lost children of the Smith and Martin families. The revelation was staggering. Tyrell and Samantha, now teenagers, had been separated from their parents, Ron Smith and Cecile Martin, due to a tragic misunderstanding years ago. The Smith and Martin families, once close allies, had been torn apart by a series of misfortunes, including a devastating car accident that left both parents in financial ruin. Unable to care for their children, they had reluctantly placed Tyrell and Samantha in foster care, believing it was temporary. But bureaucracy and miscommunication had kept the families apart, and the children had grown up believing they were orphans. Jacob's discovery was a beacon of hope, a chance to mend broken bonds. The reunion that followed was a scene of raw emotion, played out in the foster home's modest living room. Ron, a burly man with tears streaming down his weathered face, embraced Tyrell, who had inherited his father's broad shoulders and quiet strength. Cecile, her hands trembling, clung to Samantha, whose wide eyes mirrored her mother's. The room was filled with the sound of laughter and sobs, a symphony of joy and regret. For the Smith and Martin families, this was a moment of redemption, a chance to rewrite their story. But as Jacob watched the reunion unfold, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much larger storm. A legal storm brewing. Regina's claimed the joy of the reunion was short-lived, as a shadow loomed over the family's newfound happiness. June's sister, Regina Carter, had always been a polarizing figure in Fairhaven. A fiercely independent woman with a sharp tongue and a heart full of unresolved grief, Regina had never fully recovered from the loss of her sister. When June passed away, Regina had been determined to take in Tyrell and Samantha, believing it was her duty to honor her sister's memory. But her efforts to become their guardian had been thwarted by a slow and unforgiving child services system. By the time Regina had gathered the necessary paperwork, the children had already been placed in foster care, and she was told it was too late. Now, with the truth about Tyrell and Samantha's parentage out in the open, Regina was ready to fight. She argued that the adoption process had been flawed, tainted by errors and oversights that had robbed her of her chance to raise the children. Regina's lawyer, a slick attorney named Marcus Tate, was already preparing a case, claiming that the foster home's negligence had violated Regina's rights. The potential for a legal battle cast a pall over the reunion, threatening to drag the Smith and Martin families into a courtroom drama that could tear them apart once more. The stakes were high, and the town was divided. Some residents sided with Regina, believing she deserved a chance to fulfill her sister's wishes. Others argued that Ron and Cecile, as the biological parents, had an undeniable claim to their children. The legal wrangling promised to be messy, with affidavits, depositions, and heated arguments that would expose Fairhaven's deepest wounds. As Jacob left the foster home, he couldn't help but wonder if his magic trick had inadvertently opened a Pandora's box. Love and boundaries. Chelsea's stand while the Smith and Martin families grappled with their reunion. Another drama was unfolding in Fairhaven's romantic sphere. Chelsea Andrews, a vibrant artist known for her colorful murals that adorned the town's walls, was at a crossroads in her personal life. Her relationship with Dr. Madison Reed, a compassionate pediatrician, had been a source of stability and joy. But the ghost of her past relationship with Allison Parker, a fiery and unpredictable journalist, continued to haunt her. Chelsea had always been upfront about her need for boundaries, a lesson learned from the chaos of her time with Allison. Their relationship had been a roller coaster of passion and pain, marked by Allison's impulsive decisions and Chelsea's struggle to maintain her sense of self. Now, with Allison back in town after a year away, Chelsea was determined to set the record straight. Over coffee at the Cozy Corner Cafe, with sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows, Chelsea laid out her terms. "I'm with Madison now," she said firmly, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "We're done, Allison. I need you to respect that." But Allison was not one to back down. With her piercing green eyes and a smirk that could cut glass, she leaned across the table, her voice dripping with defiance. "You can set all the boundaries you want, Chelsea, but you can't erase what we had." Allison's words were a challenge, a spark that threatened to ignite a firestorm. She was determined to win Chelsea back, even if it meant crossing lines and stirring up trouble. Rumors were already swirling that Allison had been digging into Madison's past, looking for dirt that could undermine their relationship. The town braced for the fallout, knowing that Allison's penchant for chaos could turn Chelsea's life upside down. As Chelsea walked away from the cafe, her heart heavy with the weight of her decision, she knew that this was only the beginning. Allison's refusal to respect her boundaries was a ticking time bomb, and the real drama was yet to come. Would Allison's schemes drive a wedge between Chelsea and Madison, or would Chelsea's resolve hold firm? Fairhaven's residents watched with bated breath, their coffee cups raised in silent anticipation. A dance of discord, Kat and Tomas's night out while Chelsea navigated her romantic turmoil. Another couple was facing their own challenges. Kat Reynolds and Tomas Vega, two of Fairhaven's most beloved young residents, had been the talk of the town since they started dating. Their chemistry was undeniable, a spark that lit up every room they entered. On August 13th, they decided to spice things up with a salsa night at the Uptown Dance Hall, a vibrant venue known for its pulsing rhythms and colorful lights. The evening began with promise. Kat, in a flowing red dress that swirled with every step, laughed as Tomas spun her across the dance floor. His confident moves and infectious grin made it easy to forget the world outside. For a moment, it seemed like they were on the cusp of something magical. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. The previous week, Kat and Tomas had taken their relationship to a new level, sharing an intimate night that Tomas believed had deepened their bond. For Kat, however, the experience had been far from perfect. She felt rushed, unsure, and disconnected, a stark contrast to Tomas's enthusiasm. As the salsa music pulsed through the air, Kat's discomfort grew. Every twirl felt like a reminder of the gap between them, and Tomas's carefree laughter only deepened her sense of alienation. By the end of the night, Kat's smile had faded, replaced by a quiet resolve. She knew she needed to talk to Tomas, to be honest about her feelings, but the thought of confronting him filled her with dread. The date, meant to bring them closer, had instead driven a wedge between them, leaving Kat to wonder if their relationship could survive the truth. A hidden fortune. Leslie's dilemma. Meanwhile, across town, another drama was unfolding in the Reynolds household. Kat's sister, Leslie, a pragmatic single mother, was sorting through a pile of old papers when she stumbled upon a legal document that stopped her in her tracks. The paper, yellowed and creased, appeared to be a will, claiming that Leslie had been granted an inheritance from a distant relative she barely remembered. The sum was substantial. Enough to change her life and provide for her daughter, Eva, in ways she had never dared to dream. Leslie, ever the skeptic, dismissed the document as a mistake or a scam. "People don't just leave you money out of the blue," she muttered, tossing the paper into a drawer. But Eva, a bright and curious 12-year-old, wasn't so quick to let it go. "Mom, what if it's real?" she asked, her eyes wide with possibility. "We could move to a bigger house, or you could go back to school like you always wanted." Eva's enthusiasm was infectious, but Leslie's fear of disappointment held her back. The document raised questions about her family's past, questions she wasn't sure she was ready to answer. As the night wore on, Eva's words echoed in Leslie's mind. The inheritance, if real, could be a lifeline, a chance to break free from the financial struggles that had defined her life. But it also came with risks. Legal battles, family disputes, and the possibility that the document was a cruel hoax. Leslie stood at a crossroads, torn between hope and caution, as Eva watched her with unwavering faith. The decisions she made in the coming days would shape their future, for better or worse. A town on the edge. As the clock struck midnight on August 13th, Fairhaven was a town teetering on the edge of change. Jacob's discovery had reunited two families, but it had also set the stage for a legal battle that could tear them apart. Chelsea's stand against Allison promised a clash of wills that would keep the town gossiping for weeks. Kat and Tomas's faltering romance hinted at deeper truths that needed to be confronted, while Leslie's unexpected inheritance opened a door to possibilities she had never imagined. Beyond the Gates had once again delivered a night of drama, weaving together stories of love, loss, and redemption. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. TV soap news and spoilers for more updates on Beyond the Gates.